Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. I'm Hank. Me, Hank. That's me. With me is Ben.
Who? Where? What? What is this?
This works.
It hasn't even been that fucking long since we recorded.
No, it hasn't. I have no excuse.
I mean, you did just kind of like wake up. Like you woke up twice today. So,
That's true.
I mean, or you been huffing mermaid ashes?
No,
Okay.
that I haven't been doing.
Okay. Just I'm making sure.
No
I don't
living
know.
forever over here.
I mean,
Or
you know,
turning. I mean, but that not living forever for most people doing that either.
true.
A
Yeah.
lot of turning into a monster. Bad times. Mostly bad times.
So we read Mermaid Saga by Rumiko Takahashi,
Yes,
who
correct.
did also Ranma Half. And
one half.
I constantly forget how to pronounce the other thing that you've been watching.
Urusei Yatsura, which is the thing I'm currently obsessed with.
Yeah.
And
seen it
Inuyasha.
Inuyasha. Yeah, but I don't talk about that one. It's like it's too big. I look over there and I see the anime. I see a big fucking anime and I say no.
Yeah.
And I look away.
I mean, Ranma and Urusei Yatsura are also extremely large things.
I thought I didn't think Ranma Half was that long. I mean, I know legitimately nothing about it. I just assumed, I guess, like, and also I thought the other one was like broken up. Like I thought that had gone through a couple of different iterations. Or is the manga like one giant thing that's lasted for eternity?
I'm pretty sure they're all okay. Inuyasha is 56 volumes.
That's
Ranma 1 half was 38 volumes.
That's a lot. When did that end? Is it ended?
The manga ended in 96 for Ranma, which is when Inuyasha started.
Okay.
And then Inuyasha ended in 2008, the manga. Although the anime ended... Okay, the anime ended in 2000... There was, like, the main show ended in 2004, and then there was the final act, which was another 26 episodes. That came from 2009 to 2010 for Inuyasha. And then Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah, is that like... I swore that was
Which was her
broken up.
first breakout thing. That was 34 volumes.
That's short. Or am I thinking, or is that like the manga's one thing, but there's been a bunch of anime or something? Seems
No,
like
there was one anime and now there's a new anime.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, are these just final?
There was a
what's with all these-
194 episode Urusei Yatsura anime.
Oh, these
and
are
there
all
were,
just
like-
films. I see.
Yeah,
Films,
those are movies.
films.
Which is
films.
why I watched the 5 Urusei Yatsura original movies.
Man,
In addition
reading
to the new show.
Mermaid Saga like has me like I want to check out other stuff this person has written.
Yeah.
I want to see what Rumiko has. I have several anecdotes, I guess. To start with. First off, the fact that she did Ranma Half is, I mean, that's great. That like I forgot that that manga existed. That was like an early brush with manga for me. Not because I read it, but because that was like I discovered what tits were. And then immediately, like my friend she was reading Ranma Half on the bus. And we were like fucking young, like junior high or something. And she was reading it, and I was like looking at it as well because she has this thing, like it's not whatever. I'm like, what? You just got like tits? What is this? What is all this? They published this? Where did you get this?
In Japan, yes.
That was look, it was middle school, man. Oh no, the doors opened itself. Oh no, someone shut it again. Anyway, so that was just an interesting little like, hey, this thing like lodged itself in my brain at a formative time.
Sure.
Also, did you end up reading? I know you purchased it. Did you read Tomy by Junji Ito?
No, I haven't read Tomy yet.
Oh, this is like major Tomy vibes.
Gotcha.
The formatting specifically, like
Okay.
so they're going from place to place. It's like every fucking person they meet is like, I'm gonna eat you or eat this, and you're related. Like, it's just this constant thing. But in Tomy, it's like, damn, you're gorgeous. I need to stab you. Like, it's just that, instead of trying to like fucking eat them or take their liver or whatever. So I thought that was pretty wild. Just how well those lined up. So that was cool. But this, I had no idea what to expect. I thought this was, I think you had mentioned something else in passing, and I think I got this confused with that. It was something about like a girl who finds herself in a fantasy land or something. Like there's like one arc of the anime that's good, and then it goes to shit.
Yeah.
I forget what it was called.
13 Kingdoms?
Yeah, that sounds right. 12 Kingdoms, 13 Kingdoms?
12 Kingdoms.
Something along. Yeah. So I
12
think
Kingdoms, which is an anime I watched at the end of last year, yeah.
Yeah, I think I got
watched the beginning of it.
I got him like a little confused, or I didn't know like fully what this was. I was not expecting what we got, but it was fucking great. Like, this whole thing was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a good like horror adventure serial or whatever.
And there's like the little bit of like the how would you pronounce it? My brain wants to say mana, but I guess it's mana. The girl, main girl?
I would say mana, but I don't know.
Okay,
I have no idea.
I'll go
Only
with mana.
reading MAN.
Yeah. Like her kind of, falling for Yuta, or like at least the slow warm up, and then by the end of it, she's like, yeah, like I was just happy because you were back and blah blah blah. Like, I don't know, that little overlaying thing was like the bit of warmth I needed in between them getting like fucking murdered repeatedly.
Yeah. Look, I'm just here for anytime a character's buried alive and digs himself out, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was good shit. And they both got it.
Spider-Man, Kill Bill, this.
Man. What was your favorite little story? If you had one.
Hard. They're all pretty on the level.
Yeah.
For me. I'm not sure. Let me think about it. Did you have one?
I mean, I asked the question, but like I don't necessarily know. I hadn't thought about it until I asked. The one that's
be like, I really like the thing of the guy who's like has the vision of himself.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, that's the one that's popping into my brain.
That girl, and he just thinks he can solve that problem.
Yeah, like the idea that like he's such a fucking, I mean, he's a psychopath, like literally, even before he becomes immortal. But the fact that like he thinks he could solve it and it doesn't fucking work, and then he's immediately like, I literally can't live with this, and he just fucking beheads himself. Like, that one stuck. That was yeah. I guess maybe we should back up like a tiny fucking bit.
Yeah, sure.
So Mermaid Saga is about mermaids, and specifically revolving around the fact that the flesh of a mermaid can make you immortal, but there's a really like the people in this world in the manga are like, man, you just have to eat the flesh of a mermaid and you become immortal. Except the problem is, it's like, what, at one point they throw out like 1 in 1,000 people, but it's probably even less. Like, there's a very good chance that you're just gonna.
We know of 2 people it worked for.
2 people it worked for who like who weren't assholes and who didn't have like horrendous tendencies or side effects. Because like other people, they got fucked.
Yeah, there are other people who become like who live for a long time, but they have terrible side effects where they like start turning into monsters, and it like brings out the worst in them.
Or there's like the one lady, like she's in pain constantly. She has like the scar on her face, and she's like, I have to cut off somebody's face and put it on so often to make it go away.
Yes.
So there's that idea, and then if you eat the flesh and it doesn't agree with you, like you turn into a lost soul, like you become just a monster, like a kind of fishy looking, like the bulbous eyes kind of turned upward and outward, that sort of look.
Yeah.
And also the idea of like, I guess it's a mix of like
and
people
also,
choosing or coincidentally getting like part of the mermaid. Like there was someone who drank blood of the mermaid, ashes of a mermaid, the liver, like various things like that.
Various things. And also, if you do become immortal, then if a mermaid eats you, the mermaid can become immortal.
Yeah, it's a whole.
So you also got that to worry about.
Yeah, there's a whole thing, and like mermaids can have like legs. Like there's some of that. I guess almost sort of a Selkie thing. I don't know if that's just mermaid lore or if it depends on the area or what, but we do encounter mermaids who are like walking around and stuff.
Yes.
So like the first story is just this girl. Well, yeah, I guess we were introduced to the girl first, and then Mana, and then she's like being taken care of by this old lady. Yeah, and then Yuta is the Mr. Immortal. Ate the flesh of a mermaid. And we kind of get slow rolled into Mana being fed the flesh of a mermaid, and the whole first story is like learning that these old women are mermaids, right? Yeah, because that's where like they need to feed her the flesh of a mermaid so she becomes immortal. And we find out they've been like feeding all these women mermaid flesh and killing them in the process because they turn into lost souls because they're just looking for someone whose body will accept it. And they find Mana, her body accepts it, and then they just fucking, like, she's never walked in her entire life. They just had her shackled, and they're literally just raising her to be eaten. And Yuta's like, fuck that. Like, not on my watch. And yeah, then that, like, after that story, they become companions, though we do see some of like Yuta's past because he's been alive for like 500 years.
Yeah, and there's just good stuff like Yuta get stabbed in the chest. He's just like gets to keep going.
Yeah,
so he's
dude,
just, like covered in blood.
Yeah, like they really go ham on that. Like it's fucking bloody. Also, like I don't know, it was amusing. Like all the different times. He's like, yeah, see, look, I'm immortal. And he decided to just fucking cut open his arm. And I'm like, man, if this was a movie, I'd be in trouble. Like, that guy's going vertical down the wrist. That's no good.
Yeah. And, like, another part of the setup is Yuta is going around, like, investigating mermaid stuff in the hope that he can find a mermaid and they can tell him how to stop being immortal.
Yeah, dude wants to
he's been
get
alive
old
for so fucking
die.
long.
Which
like, that's his he's like what it reminds me of is, the old Incredible Hulk TV show, the live action one, which was all Robert Banner travels to this place and then does stuff, and then the Hulk comes and he walks away at the end and the sad music plays, just like traveling from town to town looking for a cure.
Yeah.
That's like that's to me that's the quintessential of like this formula of a character just traveling around doing things. But there's plenty of stuff does that.
And the idea, like,
yeah, just him running around with a harpoon in his chest is so good.
Dude, they get fucked up. Like, people are stabbing him, shooting him, burying him, like, just everything.
Like, I really like that one of the stories just starts with them just like like lying in a bunch of rocks, all bloody,
Yeah.
like passed out.
And the only way you can truly kill them is if you behead them.
Yeah,
Which
Highlander
like
rules.
they only kind of get close to like once with a dude with a fucking chainsaw, like partially cuts into his neck. Actually, that reminds me. The other anecdote that I thought was amusing reading this was because like I've reading the other stuff, I guess around this era, like some of the other I forget what the fucking term was. There was that term that I learned for like this group of female mangaka who were doing all their stuff and just like making a big old splash and everything. But all this stuff and completely different, right? It's like a bunch of romance, slice of life kind of things, and it's like really, really good, but just a different tone. And right before reading this, I had read a story from someone about they were being a dungeon master for a Dungeons and Dragons game, and it was a woman, and had this. She was talking about like she had this whole campaign, and it's like pretty grim, like pretty realistic setting, like horrifying shit going on, like some pretty dark themes and all that, but like blah blah blah. All the players had a good time, and this one guy, of course, was being like a fucking asshole afterwards, and like didn't believe that she thought up the idea and the setting on her own because like, oh, you're like just such a like small woman and petite and frail and blah blah blah, like someone like you couldn't think up this sort of thing. And then we fucking read this, I'm like, God. Like just oh man, I don't know, just it was funny that like like turns like everybody can think of fucked up shit. It's not limited. Good fucked up shit, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just
This is so good. Like,
dude,
it's incredibly good.
I like that. Like everybody, it doesn't do the thing that the Rororo does, where like at the end we find out that is it the Rororo is like the girl in the end?
Yeah,
I forget. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, you'll be a good wife or whatever. Like. That whole weird little thing. Like there's none of that. They're just like chilling and they're both like doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty like Yuta is, I mean, the more experienced one and stuff, but like it never felt like they were sliding into like really traditional roles, I guess I'll say.
Sure.
Yeah, man. I still can't, like, that fucking lady carving off her face. Like, that was a rough one. Like, she was fucking biting the towel and just, like, jabbed the knife in and, like...
Yeah. And, like, it's got, like, really fucked up stuff, but it doesn't, like, ever lose its...
charm.
It doesn't lose its humanity. And, like, a lot of what Rumiko Takahashi is really good at is, like, facial expressions and stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, it
like
was...
because that stuff's, like, incredibly key to most of her work, which is, like, more comedic.
Yeah, no, it was a really good balance. Like, I don't know. I know in my head that, like, it's horror, but it never felt like horror. It still was, like, slice of lifey,
I mean, for me, the difference is, like, it never... horrible things happen to these characters, but it's never like the world is a hopeless place, despite, like, how much fucking terrible shit there is in the world.
And see... I mean...
Yuda's still just a good person trying to, like, help people.
And even, like, the girl who got... So there was one of the stories, like, we learned there's this girl who's, like... Basically, all of these stories are, they overhear somebody talking about, like, man, that person doesn't look like they've aged a day in, like, 60 years. And he's like, huh. Interesting. some bullshit
Weird.
like that. And we find this guy who is like selling mermaid flesh, and of course, like he's a con man, I think, or it's like I forget if we learn if it's actual mermaid flesh. I think it's like carp flesh or like water. I don't know. But it's not real mermaid flesh. But I forget if it had anything in it. And his daughter is like healing quickly, which is another thing. Like if you get injured, like your wounds healed instantly, or based on their severity, I suppose. And I forget exactly how it was. Like this other guy had learned a technique of like laying out her bones and like bringing the body back and all this stuff. Like you have a full-on skeleton and you do a thing over it and like the person comes back. But he decided for her ritual to use a mermaid liver, which is immortal. So she like returned fully. Normally people were dying after a few years. And Yuta is like just chill with this. Like this girl had the irresistible urge to like eat livers out of things. And she tried to eat his liver because you're immortal. I thought it would taste interesting. And he's still just like chill about it. He's like, oh no,
Yeah.
like you can come with us. Like we got to get you out of here. This is a terrible situation you're in.
Yeah.
Also, I'll say what you said about like, you know, it's not like a horrible world and stuff, and like how he's still a good person. It's like Junji Ito read this and was like, what if the world was horrible though? Like what if everybody was just awful?
Yeah. Junji Ito, the world is terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like Yuta and Mana are not like corrupted or whatever. They're just good-hearted people.
And I like that we never
And
had
sometimes
any.
it's nice to just read that while also getting all the horror shit of fucked up monsters and them getting stabbed or whatever, buried alive.
Yeah.
I really love when she digs herself out of being buried alive. That's so funny.
That shit was good.
And she's fucking pissed.
Dude, yeah, she gets out, she's so upset.
Yeah. As you would be. Like, you
I'd
motherfuckers.
I'd be pretty irked. We also do get like it seems like also burning them. Like if you're fully consumed by fire, that's enough to do the job.
Yeah. So like if they were really miserable, they could
Yeah.
end their lives. But like they want a cure because they want to live their lives normally.
Yeah.
They're like like trapped in this thing of trying to find out how to cure themselves.
I forget if we get that from them or from another character. I know at some point we get the idea of like, no, I want to grow old. Like they want the full life experience. They don't just want to fucking end it.
Even though like by the end he's been alive for like 1,000 years or whatever.
Yeah, at a certain point.
Yeah.
I do,
because that's the other thing I like about this is just like time passes and like we get into more modern stories.
Yeah.
Like a modern setting as it goes on, just
forth.
because they've just been alive for a long time.
Yeah. And I really like that he's like he hasn't given up. I think he says at one point he's trying to like encourage Mana a bit about like living and like how there's something about like it's not so bad or whatever, or if you have someone. I forget what the exact line
like
is.
the fact that like once they're going through this together, there is like
that make it so
makes
much
it better.
But the idea that like being immortal is shit.
Yeah.
Like that's why I worry if people are like, man, I would love to be immortal. I'm like, you need help. Like that's no good. Who hurt you? I don't want that shit. Like temporary? Sure. Like I could maybe do a couple 100 years or something, but like I need a turn off switch. That's yeah. Oh man. And the fact that it
and
was
it
not
was
a
just
ton of it.
for me, it was just nice to read some Rumiko Takahashi that wasn't all about characters being perverted and horny.
Yeah.
That is a difference between this and her other work that I've been reading. So that was.
What else have you? Have you just
like
been,
to just appreciate this really good art and it not be about that.
What else have you been reading? Just the Urusei?
Urusei Yatsura, but Ranma's also like that.
I mean, that's why.
Because those are comics that they're running in magazines for boys.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, it's still. I remember with Urusei. Anyway, you mentioned like the fact that like a woman is writing it, like you can tell or something.
Yeah, that is a story about a main character who will say on occasion, literally just state he wants a harem, but like he's like evil, like he's bad.
Yeah,
the story doesn't like think that's good.
yeah. Oh, that's
it's just funny watching these terrible teenagers who are awful.
Man,
and but because they're teenagers, like maybe they'll grow up a little fucking one day, but for now they are these fucking jokes of characters.
Yeah,
but they're like the story like treats them with like care. It like. And they have like more than one. They have like a little bit more than one dimension, but mostly they're vehicles for comedy.
Yeah,
because it's like it took me longer to warm up to it, but then I got like it just hit a point where I got over the hill, and now I'm like obsessed. Whereas like
I've
this
noticed.
is like I'm just instantly in. There is no like. Holding it at arm's length for a little bit or anything with Mermaid Saga.
Well,
Mermaid Saga, I just read it. It's like this is just fucking delightful. Start to finish.
Like, I mean, I could see it if like if like Yuta was immortal and like because occasionally we get a lot of people that he's met, and especially like for girls, Mana's like, "Did you love her?" He's like, "Yeah, like maybe." And like she's getting all like huffy about it. And like, it was never weird. It was just like, yeah, this dude is still like a human. Like he had feelings and he's existed for 5 centuries. Like I only just met this girl, but it's not like, man, every day we meet a new chick that Yuta banged 300 years ago or something.
Or he's not just constantly harassing women, which is more
yeah.
Oh, there's that.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just a short one because this is just fucking great.
It's like there's only so much to say.
Like people should read it.
and it's not like it's also that it's so short. Like it's 2 volumes. I read that shit. I think it was like under 2 hours. I completed all of it total. Did you say anything about the anime for this one? Had you checked it out, or did any?
Oh yeah. So when is the anime made? Let me find it. So there's an anime show.
There's OVAs from
but
91
it's from
and 93.
2003. And the thing that made it instantly a nope for me is all the character designs are redone. It's not her art style.
Oh.
So that's just a no for me. Like I don't like the character designs at all. I only watched like the opening, and like that's just a nope. Like the thing that made me read it is I like her character designs. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, they're very good,
and it's like just incredibly generic 2003 like early computer colorization stuff. Like
sure,
it doesn't look good.
Do any of the? Have you looked into like the OVAs?
That I didn't do.
These look a little better. Peeking at them, the 91 and 93. They look a little more.
Those could be good
on the nose for art. But yeah, no, this 2003 one is Yeah. That's not it. This
That's
ain't
just
it,
a
Chief.
crime.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like, why would you do this?
No, I really like the art style. It's very
And like to do that in 2003. You're still in Inuyasha's huge land. Like, it's not like her art style is out of fashion.
yeah.
I guess like they would be afraid like people would see her art style and not think it's horror because they would have like preconceptions about her other work. But
Yeah, I guess.
it's just
I
bad.
can see that.
I'm just trying to figure out why that happened. Working
They
backwards
They
from
want to jump on the train,
This-
man.
art crime.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird stuff.
But yeah, my big thing is just like I watched plenty of Inuyasha back in the day, and I don't love that series at all. But then I saw the thing she did after, which is also a giant series, like Rinne, she did after Inuyasha. And that was just like quality, like it was just like pretty good. And I'm just like, I think she's just extremely talented as a mangaka, and I should like dig into stuff that I would probably like more. Like, so like I'm just glad I've like gotten there.
Yeah.
Because I just think she's really good at drawing comics.
I just remembered another bit that I really liked from Mermaid
Sure.
Saga. She did the Griffith thing. Your dream that there was like a couple. I forget what the story was, or it was the one with the fishing village, or with the village of like the decent pirates who just collected tolls. And it was about like having a dream, and like was I in that dream? And there's like birds flying. I'm like, oh no. Every time someone has a dream now, I'm fucking scared.
It's gonna be their downfall.
Oh God.
Too much ambition.
Yeah, man. I want a castle. No, you don't. Get out of here.
There's the story where the one where like it starts with them like dead in a bunch of rocks, and I'm like a monster dude comes
Yeah.
by and kidnaps Mana, but then
Yeah.
she like befriends him, and he's like, I just want to be nice. There's this mean guy trying to kill me or whatever. And then like the minute that guy shows up, he's like, you fucking moron, look around you. You're surrounded by skeletons, because he just goes around eating people. It's like, oh, this is a problem.
Yeah.
He just like loses his mind and eats people.
That one was not like mentally hard to read, but like, man, that kind of writing just like it's difficult. Where they do all the like,
yeah, because that's
his
like
fucked up
tapping
speech.
into like Alzheimer's stuff of just like you're not who you are.
Oh, not even that. I meant like
Oh.
like physically, like all the I have done it, like all the fucking
fuck.
replaced. Like trying to sort that out in my brain just doesn't.
And they're like transliterating it from whatever it was in
Yeah,
Japanese.
yeah. Like I like the effect. I think if you want that effect, that's fine. But like we can lay off a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. Because that one's hard to tell like how much of it is what was originally there and how much of that is like a choice made by the translator.
Yeah.
But
Also-
also that page of like, he's a monster. You're wrong. And then like the zoom out. It's like he must be allowed to live. They're just like human skulls everywhere.
Yeah. No, that shit was.
She's like, well, shit.
Yeah. Man. Also which one was it? There was the one with Mermaid Hill, or it was like that's like the Mermaid Forest one, I think. where there's like just a hole, and it turns out someone had like impaled a mermaid into like the side of this hole, and the mermaid was just alive this whole time because they're immortal or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
Just cutting off a little piece every now and then.
Just a little fucking, as needed. Yeah. Mermaid Saga is fucking great. This was prime.
Yeah.
I can't believe like how I mean, I want more, but they went out on top.
Went out on top. And like this wasn't a thing that like came out regularly. Like these like they came out over the course of like 10 years, all these chapters. It ran from 84 to 94. So there's also a thing of just like she had the time to like between her other comics that were coming out every week or whatever. Just like if she had a good story to just knock one out or whatever.
Yeah, no, these are
so there's that too.
I want more though. I mean, I kind of don't. I don't want it to, I don't want it to get bad.
Yeah.
But like, they crushed it.
Yeah, no. I bought the books.
Yeah. See, this is another thing. I'm like, I was just talking the other day about how before various events happened, like I was ready to buy Dragon Ball. I was ready to buy Sailor Moon. I was ready to buy fucking Rose of Versailles, Berserk. Like I would have gone in on this, maybe some Junji Ito. Like I was ready to start spending. And then shit happened, and I'm like, never again. Physical products are dead to me.
Digital comics are pretty good if you have a good way to read them. I'm not gonna. Poo-poo. I have the book sickness. I would describe it that way.
I mean, look,
if you're fine with just having digital copies of comics, that's A-okay to me.
It's been all well and fine until I wanted that specific Beowulf forward, and I couldn't fucking find it. And I knew it was on my bookshelf at home. That's when I was like, I've been robbed of convenience.
Yeah,
I need that flippability, man.
Key is definitely like, can you find that shit online at all?
Yeah, can you find it? And like, how I'm always going to be able to flip through faster physically if I want to see that one thing.
Sure. Mm-hmm. You can run to your bookshelf and just grab it.
Maybe someday. We'll be, like, what I don't know what my timeline is. Like, if I stay in the same country for like 5 years, then maybe I'll try poking my head out and buying a book again. 3 years wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Oh well. No, this would be a great one. And it's only the 2 volumes. Mm-hmm. That's the one you got, the collections? I take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the only one that's in print currently or whatever, but
I don't know, maybe you splurged on like the original 3-volume thing or something.
I mean, I could have searched around used drugstores, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I got it from Right Stuff. They have cheaper. It was like discounted or whatever. Off cover price.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
But I think I guess that's a podcast.
We need more to complain about.
Do Ursa Yatsura. That's gonna happen. I'm now like in full obsession mode with that series.
And this was like a good, like, now I'm fully primed. Like I was the anime for sure. I was like,
yeah, because that new anime just looks fucking gorgeous.
Like I see some screenshots now and again, like bumping around on Reddit, and I'm like, this color palette is just like very solid. Like it's calling me. Mm-hmm. But now having read this, like I'm interested in seeing what the author has done, you know? Like now I care about doing more of her work specifically instead of just like watching this anime or whatever. So, hell yeah, man. I'm ready. I don't know if my time is ready, but I'm ready. The body is willing.
Yeah. I was just looking at that the story with the mermaid that's like impaled on the wall.
Right through her side. Just fucking
the woman who's like beautiful on the outside, but she's completely aged on the inside.
Yeah.
Because her sister fed her mermaid stuff.
Yeah, they were like twins or whatever.
To,
yeah,
like, test it out.
To see if it works.
Yeah. Good shit. Anyway, Salt Circle Podcast, gmail.com, Salt Circle Pod on Twitter, anchor.fm/Salt Circle, and I'm on Twitter at Comic Panels.
I ain't on Twitter. I know.
You know, sometimes you just don't need to be on Twitter. It's not that important.
Yeah, I don't miss it.
Twitter exists because journalists are addicted to it as much as anything.
I considered sumo Twitter, but not enough to dive in.
I don't do sumo Twitter just because I don't watch as much sumo live, so I don't want to get spoiled.
That's fair, yeah.
So I keep that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.